Before we dive into some really exciting stuff for XRP, I want you guys to understand that now that BlackRock is joining the game, we're going to be seeing a whole lot more manipulation. And I saw a question earlier today. Somebody asked me, Dusty, why do we care about these Bitcoin ETFs? Because it allows for so much money to enter the space. And the moment you've got a Bitcoin ETF, they're going to be going for an Ethereum spot ETF. And they're going to be going for an XRP spot ETF, and they're going to be going for a crypto market ETF. And that basically means tons and tons and tons of institutional money is going to be joining our world. And honestly, guys, that's not only good. I want you guys to carefully realize that. You've got to understand they will not let you off with free, easy money. It's going to be hard because they all want a share. And so this institutional money coming in is good and bad. The good side being there's more money. The bad side being they're going to want yours too. I notice my forehead is a little bit red from the slap. I've already said it many times, but on this channel, our main focus is going to be to predict the most massive moves in the market, and not like really prematurely. We're not going to be throwing up these crazy balls and ideas that have no merit. No, mostly, okay, we understand the different phase we're in. How exactly do we react to that with the near future in mind? One thing I've been telling you guys about for a while is Ripple's marketing campaign, right? Isn't it funny that the day I start saying about all that, then all of a sudden Ripple ramping up a partnership with Uphold, and honestly this partnership was a lot better than I made it seem yesterday. But actually I found another video where Ripple is going for some massive advertisement, and all I'm trying to say with this is Ripple knows it too. They're preparing for something. They probably have got some, this is my own speculation, some big things in the pipeline. Again, going for these massive real world, I don't know how you call this, like these Hollywood type of campaigns, like literally advertisements in the most traditional form possible, and not just one but multiple. If you go through their profile, you'll see a multiple of them now coming out. Multiple, by the way, not just one or two. No, they're going hard on these advertisements right now. I think just a part of the plan was to kind of build advertising around this Uphold announcement, but I honestly am predicting right now for you guys that this Uphold announcement is just one of many that have been in the works for an extremely long time, but are only being released now. Uphold held Ripple's hand throughout the entire SEC lawsuit. You might say that this is a little thanks. I don't think so. I think they've been planning this for an extremely long while, and they basically said the moment the lawsuit is over, let's start working. Let's start opening up the corridors, because right now, you guys got to understand, the Ripple lawsuit is officially over, but that means we can start resuming the plans we had before, which is utility is going to take over. And right now, I think through Uphold, they might be opening our first step towards the dollar corridor again of really ramping up our payments with the United States that have been blocked for years. And you guys got to understand, if you thought Ripple was doing well before, well, two things. One, you didn't know jack shit because they didn't really say what they were doing for the most part. And second of all, the floodgates are only now opening if you think about it, because they're out of this purgatory now. But obviously, I think they're going to wait for the bull market, which is now here, which is basically now, to start going in for massive announcements and massive partnerships. Not that they're just making them now, they're just announcing them now. Then again, two things. Ripple's IPO is coming up because right now the case is over. So it could very well be that an IPO comes in very shortly. I mean, yeah, makes sense in every field, right? What's stopping them from IPO? The fine, okay, but perhaps that's why they're going for the advertising campaign right now. But also, from every other angle, institutional money can flow a lot easier to XRP because they've got the clarity. I mean, Bitcoin ETFs first, okay, cool. But generally speaking, if you're in the US, what's second in the crypto ladder in terms of regulations? Really, XRP is quite high up on that list. Now, we've got ourselves a little update in the lawsuit. You can see right here, November 9th, the parties shall jointly propose a briefing schedule with regard to remedies. If the parties cannot agree on a schedule, the judge will set the schedule. A lot of you guys were asking me where I got my dates from. I already said it before, November 9th. By that time, we're going to be seeing how the SEC and Ripple are going to come together to discuss the fine that Ripple has to pay. But a lot of lawyers were saying that Ripple's got a lot of power because the SEC basically gave up and they don't want to expose even more. Talking about the SEC in the Coinbase case, the SEC's opposition to our motion for summary judgment claims roving authority over all investments with security and contract in the statutes, performing no limiting function at all. As our reply shows, that's never been the law, and it's not the law now. By arguing that any purchase in which the buyer hopes for an increase in value constitutes an investment contract, and therefore a security, the SEC is attempting a radical expansion of its own authority. Only Congress can do that, as the major questions doctrine makes clear. We appreciate the court's careful consideration. Anyway, to get back on the Ripple train, take a look at this, because the SEC, I can sit here talking about them for hours on row. Take a look. For anyone who didn't understand the gravity of today's news, Ripple partnering with Uphold solves this. According to the summary judgment, are ODL related sales now considered securities? David said, we're still figuring this out, all right? We don't currently have ODL related sales with the US nexus, and not being able to do so is not really a huge deal. We can still do ODL in the US as long as XRP is never sourced from Ripple. And so the reason they probably are not using ODL in this announcement with regards to Uphold is because, well, they're finding a way around, basically. And so in the reality of things, this was a huge announcement. One last thing I want you guys to take away is that for Bitcoin, we are very often watching it on the real short term, asking ourselves, what is the price going to do next? And it seems that right now, for example, hey, we're breaking down towards the downside. But even though we care about the short term of Bitcoin, we understand the long term, we understand the fundamentals, we understand where it's headed. And I've told you guys 1,000 times before, whatever happens to Bitcoin is crucial for XRP and for your other altcoins, but please see through the bigger picture. Once more, two things should have happened. One, can actually sum up both of those actually. Right here in 2021, we should have had a way higher all-time high for XRP. If Ripple's lawsuit with the SEC did not happen, I still expect it would have had a similar performance as with Bitcoin, ending it off at about $10 or so, which basically this run around would have made it follow Bitcoin's pattern again to end up at about $25 or something like that. But in this chart, the bottoms are still quite correct. And you can see that even if you look from March of 2020 here, it's actually only been an increasing line. The only problem is it really does take a significant amount of time for us to, break this top, but hear me out. We've got our bottom right here. We've got our initial high. We've got a new bottom. And right now, what are we working towards? A new high level. And I think that level, again, as I said before, is going to be at around $25 or so for the peak of the next bull run. But that's basically where we're headed. I personally think it should have looked like this, though. We have ourselves a high point. We have ourselves a low point. We have ourselves a higher high point. We have ourselves a higher low point. And we get ourselves an even higher high point and a higher low point. So again, this is basically what it should have looked like. And the only thing missing here is actually that little filling here of the big top in 2021. But the rest of the story, I do believe, will still play out. Because again, if you look back, Bitcoin's journey has been continuing towards the upside. There have been many 85% drops in the midst every single time it does happen. But every single time after the Pi cycle bottom hits, it does reverse back around. And again, for XRP, we've already hit that. And ever since then, indeed, anybody who bought when this signal flashed, when we were talking about it, would have been at about 85% profit right now. And every single time, it might not catch the bottom perfectly, but as you can see, it does get to higher prices. In this little run from 2017 all the way towards 2020, many people thought, no, it could never recover, yet it did. Many people thought after the 2021 run that XRP, Bitcoin, could never recover, yet it did. Anybody who bought Bitcoin throughout the last entire year is now in profit. And fun fact, there are only a couple of months out of the entire history of Bitcoin where it could be at a loss right now. For XRP, I personally think we'll soon get to those levels too. And the only reason we talk about Bitcoin so much, even though it's not going to get us the most amount of gains, is because usually it's the first to gain before it moves over into altcoins. And if you don't believe me, I've been saying it for I don't know how long. Too long actually, that Bitcoin's dominance has to pick up the pace, and it was getting rejected. And the moment it broke through here, basically, we knew this is where things are about to get serious. And you can see it's bouncing off of the moving average, and right now it's just climbing up over the last couple of weeks. And we've said 1,000 times before that that's what you see just before a massive altcoin run. Bitcoin takes up the dominance first, as it's first to gain, and it's just textbook. It's so textbook, which is why I keep saying just follow the channel and you'll do golden. Just follow our rules. It's that simple. Not a financial advisor, but we know this market. We've been here for too long. We've spent too many hours watching these screens to mess up now. We've got the game unlocked and you'll see it. And again, even if you don't believe me, just keep checking back on the channel every now and then, because I guarantee you, we're going to absolutely destroy this market. We're going to absolutely wreck all the expectations. It's about to be insane. Hope you guys are ready, because we're finally showing the signs that this is really it.